Hello, my name is Patrice Jenkins, and this is my very first YouTube video, the first time I have set up a channel. And if you're here, I thank you for coming. The purpose of doing this today is because that's what my topic is going to be about going forward. 18 years ago, I said, if I ever write a book, the title is going to be It's Never Too Late If You Start Today. It's kind of ironic that I said that 18 years ago and I haven't started that book. And yet, if I felt so strongly about starting today, if I thought maybe I even had something to say about that in the form of a book, then why haven't I written it? I'm changing that today. Today, I'm starting to write that book. And starting this YouTube channel is the beginning of that. Now, one reason actually that I didn't write the book, and I did go on to write a different book, which you'll learn about at some point, but one reason I didn't write that book is I walked into a bookstore and I saw this book on the table that said, "It's only too late if you don't start now." And I said, that woman stole my title. So of course I bought the book because I had to see what someone else had to say about my topic. And the book was written by Barbara Sher. Now, I'm really happy that happened because I learned, I went on and read all Barbara's books. I'm currently actually on her faculty for her program where it teaches people to develop a writing and speaking company and business. And so that relationship has been extremely valuable to me. And she actually was my mentor when I did write a book. And that book was related to helping people get unstuck in their jobs and move on to retirement and creating the next chapter of their life. So it had something to do with starting, but there was still that little thing in me that I never wrote that book about. It's never too late if you start today. So I'm starting today. And I'm recording this so one, I have witness of it, and two, that perhaps you can join me on this journey and come up with your own starting stories. Don't we all just love a good success story? I know I do. When Oprah's show was on and she's talked about how someone just got started with nothing, $5 in their pocket, and they went on to build this amazing company. I just love those stories. In fact, at the time I had an administrative assistant who used to come in and just tell me the next story she heard. Finally, to the point I said, "Charlene, do you need your own story?" And she kind of melted and said, "I think that's it. I'm drawn to these because I need my own." That brings me to the question of, well, how does success really start for all these people? You don't make it on the Oprah show the first day you start. You don't get a call from the Today Show the first day you start. And yet, when we hear about these stories, they're so far along in success that for me, it actually makes me feel like I can't do it. It feels like I started too late, I missed the boat, or they have something that I don't have. And I could never be that successful. I have decided I'm going to challenge that, find out if it's true or not, by learning about how success starts. And one way I'm going to be doing that is interviewing different people who are successful, but I don't want to hear so much about their success as I want to learn and hear about their starting. Because one thing I think success, and this is my hypothesis, what I anticipate finding in my research, I believe success begins with starting. I know success doesn't begin with not starting, right? I think we all can agree on that. But maybe it's just the starting. At least that's what plants the seed. At least that's what gets the ball in motion for success to be attracted to. And yes, there's lots of hard work, and there is ongoing hard work, especially perhaps, or for sure, once you consider yourself successful. But it all boils down to, what did your start look like? That's what I want to learn more about. And I hope through learning more about that I'll have something to share with you. Even as I made little notes for myself, I anticipate over the course of the next year coming up with a lot of these little notes, which end up in a book and a way for other people to also benefit. Because one thing I really care about is that we come up with our own success stories, if that's something that really matters to you or to me. And I know it matters to me. Now, you might ask, why is today important? Why should I start this YouTube channel today? All I have is my iPhone and these little AirPods. I'm hoping that the microphone works on those better than just the microphone on the phone. I am not waiting for everything to be perfect to start. In fact, I've never made a YouTube video. But today is important because today is yesterday's tomorrow. Did you catch that? In fact, today is a whole bunch of yesterdays. That was the idea, I'll start this tomorrow, or I'll start this next month, or I'll start this in a year when everything is perfect and I don't have all these other things going on in my life. Well, you said that probably 5 years ago about something, 10 years, maybe in my case, 18 years ago. If I ever write a book, the title's going to be, It's Never Too Late If You Start Today. So today is yesterday and many yesterdays ago tomorrow. And I like what I read on my YMCA as I go up the stairs to the spinning class. On each riser, there's a little motivational quote. And one says, tomorrow you'll be glad you started today. And boy, is that true when it relates to exercise, but it's also true in so many other areas of our life. So the reason today is important is because it was yesterday's tomorrow. The other thing I really like about just making this first video, just starting to write those first chapters, even a table of contents for a book, is once I start, it begins to exist. Just like that, starting puts the ball in motion and it begins to exist. You might not even be able to see it yet. I think of it as when you plant a seed and you put it down in nice rich soil and you water it. Do you see anything happen for, 5 days, 10 days? Often not. But it's not like it's not there. Stuff is going on that you can't even see. And you can start talking about that plant or flower that you planted, the seed that you put there. You can start talking about it because you did it. So it's like once you start, it actually does begin to exist. It's certainly not something that you're still saying if and when and should and could and someday, because it's already starting to exist. That makes me feel really good. It makes me feel like I'm already starting to experience some of the success of what it is I want to create. Another thing that's really important is to start with what you have. Don't wait for everything to be perfect. As I said earlier, just starting this YouTube channel, deciding today was the day I was going to start it. And everything is not perfect. And once I look at this, I'm going to post it if I can figure out how to do that. Because I want you to see that starting stories don't start out perfect. When we watch a movie, a whole bunch of stuff is cut before we see the perfect version. But the thing I enjoy is at the end, sometimes during the credits, they'll just show some blunders that happened throughout, things that didn't make it in the real movie, but were part of the process. And actually it's fun. We often laugh at those blunders. And I think that's what will happen as I continue to work with this starting story. I hope, however poorly I'm doing this, that you'll stick with me, because I want you to see that starting gets better once you've started. And the same will be true for whatever it is that you want to start. So please don't wait for things to be perfect, because they'll never be perfect. You will always still be waiting. And the other thing I want is for you to be willing to start something poorly. Now, I don't like to do things poorly. I have actually very low tolerance for incompetence, is how I say it. And I think professionally, it's really important to have yourself really pulled together before, when I speak. I don't go before a group to speak without feeling fully prepared. So why would I say to start poorly? Because one, it will get you over that sense you have to be perfect. And if you're just starting, you probably will do it rather poorly. I was just spent a couple months with my granddaughter down in Florida, and when she just a couple weeks after she turned 4 years old, we started working on learning to ride a bike. And I was really hoping to teach her. I love to teach kids how to ride a bike, and I like to teach them when they're young, because then they have, for their whole life, they're able to say, I learned to ride a bike without training wheels when I was 4 years old. And I have that story because my dad taught me how to ride a bike at 4 years old. But I told her 3 things, and I made her to repeat these 3, said there's only 3 rules, and I made her repeat them each time we started. Number 1 is look ahead. Don't look all around, just look straight ahead. That will help her with her balance. The 2 is keep pedaling. Pedal, pedal, pedal. Don't start pedaling. If you've ever taught a child how to ride a bike, for some reason they stop pedaling. Don't stop pedaling. And the 3rd one is, I said, be good at falling. The reason this was so important is obviously she was going to fall. She was just learning how to ride a bike. She was not waiting to ride a bike when she had learned. And we don't wait to start something until we know really how to do it. If she got good at falling, then she was willing to get back up and go again. If she knew that was sort of one of the rules. So she fell, of course. But when she'd fall, she'd look at me and she'd give me a thumbs up. I'm okay. And if she wasn't okay, it was really important that I met her where she was, because you know what? Falling hurts. I recently got on my bike after not having been on it for like a year, and realized, gosh, I don't want to fall on this thing. Then I felt kind of bad for telling Ellie that she had to be good at falling. But because she did those 3 things, she kept looking ahead. She didn't see other distractors. She kept pedaling, and she got good at falling. She learned how to ride a bike. And she is so proud of that. And the older kids on the block came down and asked her to ride with them. And I feel so good about it. And she is no longer hoping to learn how to ride a bike. She knows how to ride a bike. And I think that relates to us. Let's keep looking ahead. I kind of got sidetracked when I saw someone else had written a book on how to, the importance of starting today. And so I let that distract me from what I said I wanted to do. Stay in your own lane, as the saying goes. I think that when we look around, when we start to compare ourselves to others, we lose that confidence we need to just get started on something that matters to us. And then keep pedaling, keep showing up to the work. Whatever it looks like on that day, do something. Do something to keep that ball in motion. Water that plant, even though you can't see anything coming from that yet. And get good at falling. Get good at things not working out the way you thought, or not everything turning out perfect. Because if we're willing to start poorly, then we're willing to start. Thank you for joining me on this first video. I promise you more are coming, and I promise you I'll get better at it. And my goal is, by doing this work, I will provide something of value for myself and also for you, as you have an opportunity to start your success.